We're going to go now to Zayin Amud Beis. And we started reading the Mishnah from a mayor. And now we're going to go to the Gemara. Mayu B'Pesach. What does it mean? A mayor says the language Shesoy from Truma Tohira Imatmeya B'Pesach. That's how he starts off. I was asking, what does the word B'Pesach mean? The Gemara Ba'ba also. It means the 14th day, B'Shas Habir. So according to this, B'Shas Habir, Achar Tzois is Pshita. Everybody agrees you're allowed to burn Tohira Matmeya because Tohira is like after Ba'am. We're talking here when it's only also the Rabbanan. That means Shosh Shishis, Chilas Tchosh Shosh Shishis. And that's when a mayor is Machadish that you're allowed to burn Tohira Matmeya. Even though you're Matama the Tohira, that's still Royal Achila. Not Tohira. And that's what the discussion is if Rabbi Yossi says Einem Rameda or not, because it's not so clear. Who says you're allowed to be Matama Truma? Now the Gemara is going to say here what's pshat in the whole Mishnah, what's going on here, what's Rabbi Meir talking, what's Rabbi Yossi saying. Let's see. Omer Rabbi Yochanan, Medivre Rabbi Akiva, Medivre Rabbi Chinas Gana Kehan. Medivreihem. Who is Medivreihem? It means from the words of Rabbi Akiva and Rabbi Chinas Gana Kehan. Just like they said, Chanina and Rabbi Akiva both said that you're allowed to be matama. You're allowed to be moisef tum al tum also. The same here, you're allowed to be matama at tahira matmei. We'll see how this works out. Hashbal Omar Medivre Lezim Divre Yeshua. No, it totally does not refer on this Mishnah. It refers on a whole different story. On the story for Ablezer Reb Yeshua. That's a whole different thing, and it's not even mentioned here. It's a Mishnah Masechta Trumas, where we see there it's a discussion that talks about the gas, the more calls it the gas al yoina. That I'm going to say it in short, but it's very good for you to look it up in the Gemara and Bavli and Mishnayos. The story goes there that a person has chulan tameim, and something happened that it broke and it's going to fall down inside Truma Tahira. I'm sorry, the other way around. The Truma Tahira is going to fall down on the chulan tameim. Now what happens is, if this happens, then the whole thing is garbage. Why? Because once Truma becomes Tomei, Truma Tomei, you can't do anything with it. So the person would rather take Kalim Tameim to receive the Truma, to be Metama the Truma Tahira. I guess it shouldn't fall in. And the Chulun Tameim you can eat. Once the Truma falls into the Chulun Tameim, it becomes Tomei, it's considered like Truma Tameim, you can't do anything with it. So he wants to save it. In other words, this is Truma is anyway going to go to waste. So might as well be Metama B'Yadayim. It's very similar to our Mishnah. It's anyway going to go to waste, you might as well be Metama B'Yadayim. So that's what Rabbi Yeshua says you got to do it. In order to save the hefsed, it's a big hefsed, if the Truma falls into the Chulun, the whole thing is garbage. Now, just the Truma is going to get lost. So that's what Rabbi Yeshua says you're allowed to do it. You're allowed to be Mekabel the Truma Tahira with Kelim Tamein. Who talks about Lezer Pshia here? Aren't we talking about the Vreim Lamado? We're talking about we're we're not discussing even these names. I'm late Tanya in. It's Bechalikas Tanor. It means I lived with a mayor, Nechlaku Ab with Tahira Itmeya. So this wasn't the Blazer of Shua. They were discussing this subject, But according to Reb Meir, they were also discussing the fact of burning Tahirim Atmeya, the Pesach. Because they were discussing something. We see that we're discussing Tluya Tmeya, and that's obviously only, that's even all year round. And Turim Tahirim Tmeya is only in Pesach. But Reb Meir holds that this was one of their discussions. Reb Lezer Reb Shua had some kind of discussions of burning Tahira, Tmeya, Tluya. We see in the Gemara that was one of the discussions. So Reb Meir holds this was also a discussion. So that means Reb Devrayim Lamad. Rabbi Yosef Shem Rabbi Yochanan Hakam Moed B'Shisha also Shesoif Turim Tahira Tmeya. So this we had before already. That once it's very awesome on Torah, for sure there's no problem. It's very after Ba'alma, you're allowed to be Matama the Turim Torah. And now this Gemara here is the language needs a little bit of a tikkun, but we'll explain it. The Toichan Advarim will explain well. Explain very well the Toichan Advarim. Rabbi Yasa Maksha. Rabbi Yasa is an Amoira. He asked the question: Lama Rabbi Yossi Omer Eina Hameda. He doesn't understand why Rabbi Yossi the Tana says it's not a good comparison. He says in Rabbi Meir that you say you can learn out from Rabbi Akiva's Chonius Gana Kahana that you're allowed to burn Truma Tohirim Tamei B'Pesach. No, Eina Hameda. It's not a good comparison. So Rabbi Yasa was asking why isn't it a good comparison? Gemara explains what was bothering Rabbi Yasa. Rabbi Yasa the Shama the Omer Rabbi Yochanan Direch Akiva B'Direch Gana Kahana. He understood from Rabbi Yochanan that the whole thing of the Mishnah, Rabbi Meir is talking, he goes on Rabbi Akiva and Chanisin Gana Kahana. Who Shama the Bar Kapara Om Avatumad Bar Torah Avatumad Devrein. He also heard, Rabbi Yasa also heard that what means Vladatim Avatuma, he understood like a kapara. They were talking about the Raisa Tuma de Rabbanan. That's a pshat in Chinis Gana Kahana. Vahu Rabbi Yasa, they didn't understand why Enem Namid Maksha. He's asking it's a beautiful comparison. That's what Rabbi Yasa was wondering. Kishem Shemut Elisif Isa Toirem Tumas Toirem. Because we see before, let's make it rule number one. We say that Isser Torah and Tumas Torah. For example, once it's awesome in a Torah to eat, you're allowed to burn it in Tumas Torah. That's what we had before. Hakam Moed B'Shisha Asa. So Isser Torah and Tumas Torah you're allowed. Shekain Torah from Tumas Torah and Tumas Torah. Why? Because we understand that once it's awesome in a Torah, it's the same level. Asr in a Torah is the same equivalent like Tomam in a Torah. So we know this for a fact. Fact number one, that we're allowed to burn Isser Torah and Tumas Torah. Why? We have to give our own logic. The reason is Shekain Torah from Tumas Torah and Tumas Torah. And Isser Torah and Tumas Torah is equivalent to Tumas Torah and Tumas Torah. So now let's go take a little bit further this argument. Ka'achei mutar lisser Isser Devreim and Tumas Torah. Shekain Torah from Tumas Devreim and Tumas Torah. So let's see. If you learn like Bakapara, the Mishnah is talking about Tumas Devreim with Tumas Torah. And rule number two, we know that Isser and Tumah are equivalent. So let's stretch it out and say, since you can burn Tumas Devreim with Tumas Torah, you can burn Isser Devreim with Tumas Torah. So that's why Rabbi Yasa was wondering why Enim Namida. It's a beautiful. You have to just build it up step by step. You can figure out that you can learn out from Chanias Gana Kahana that you can burn B'Shor Shishas, that's Isser Devreim, with Tumas Torah. Kach Yemut Isser Devreim in Tumas Torah, you can say from Tumas Devreim in Tumas Torah. Ella, Shanya Isser Shanya Tum, you'll say that no, you can't learn out Isser from Timah. No, you say you do learn out. That's what you say, that you do learn out. That since you burn Tumas Torah and Tumas Torah, you burn Isser, Kach tachlo ben is Devreim the Tumas Torah, Kesoif and Tumas Devreim in Tumas Torah. Ella ben zeh bet. So anyway, this is just explaining very well his wonder. Rabbi Yosef was wondering why Enim and Amida. Ella ben zeh dvar Torah. He's talking only when both are in a Torah. Akain Enim and Amida. That's what's Enim and Amida. That's the problem. He understood that like Bakapara, but really the understanding from Rabbi Yossi said Ein Hamida, because he understood that the Panis Gana Kahana was talking about Tumas Devreim, not Tumas Devreim, Tumas Toiram, like Rabbi Yochanan said. We're talking about both are Tumah and Torah, just one is Ava Tumah, one is Rishon Sheni. So it's not that you will never find this Yisoid that you're allowed to take it Tumah this Devreim. Once you find Tumas Devreim, you can stretch it out for Is Devreim. But you never found this Indian of Tumas Devreim even. Because the Mishnah is only talking about the Raisa Digat Tumas. This is why it's Einem and Amid. Also Reb Chia Barba Mitzur V'Amar B'Shmei Reb Yochanan Vein Zeh Ben Zeh Dvar Torah. Morris, and then I said, Yos, begin Kach. Morris, Yos. And then that's what Rabbi said. Once I heard that, I said, oh, now I understand already. Yos. Begin Kach Yisrael in Amida. That's why it says in Amida, because we never heard that Issa Devreim should be mitter. Never heard Tumas Devreim, Issa Devreim. Okay. This is the end of this whole discussion. Now we're gonna see like this. There's more of a kasha. I have a kasha. The Bakapara. Niche. Alor der Meir. But the other Yesi Oma Enim in Amida. It means according to Bakapara, Reb Meir is beautiful, what he's saying. And Reb Yossi is not. In other words, Bakapara, his shit that they're talking about the Vreim makes a lot of sense according to that. What we just finished saying. Do you see it? Issa Devreim is also good. Tumas Devreim. Vadod Reb Yossi, Oma Enim Labida. I think it's supposed to be Vadod. Vadod Reb Yossi, Oma. By this, Reb Yossi says Enim Labida. Soba Bakapara, Shim Balak. Shim Balak, Oma de Reb Lezer Reb Yeshua. According to him, it's totally, in order to make sense out of this that Meir and Rabbi Yossi are arguing, you can't go on the Rabbi Yochanan, on the Chnis Gana Kehanim, and on the Rekiva, because then for sure Meir is right. He says something very sensible. You learn it out from that story that you gotta burn Tumas Devreim with Tumas Torah. Who had in you can make Isser Devreim with Tumas Torah. So it's a perfect raya. So according to him, Devreim Lamadu doesn't go on this story. It goes on Divrei Reb Lezer Reb Yeshua. As we said before, there was a Kabbalah, something Reb Lezer Reb Yeshua is talking about, some kind that you're allowed to burn Tahira Tameya, Tluya. And he said that this Kabbalah goes on Tahira Tameya B'Pesach. And they said, no, Reb says not true. They never spoke about this. The Kabbalah that had a Machlekes is talking about Tluya, not about Tahira Tameya. Now the Gemara is going to say opposite. The Kashi there, Yochanan, Nichal there, Yossi, Vadod Meir Omer Devreim Lamadnu. According to Yochanan, Yossi is very right. How does Meir learn out from Chnis Gana Kehanim? You totally don't see anything from there. That's talking about Tumas Torah. Omer Rav Avon, this is not a Kashi. Meir Kedayte, Meir Machme B'Devreim K'Divrei Torah. You find a lot of places in Shas where Meir doesn't distinguish between the rice and the Rabbanans. So even though you can ask on him, how can you learn out from that's a Tumas Torah, and here you want to learn out Issa Devreim? So you say, no. You see, for him, Issa Devreim is just like Issa Torah. In Ashkan Meir Machim Devreim Divrei Torah, ma b'kine the Tanim Talmud, Rei Kasim Reizim Kilkalas Chasheshes B'Shem Zoy Divrei Meir. Also, even the Kasim is only the Rabbanon has all the chumash of a zayt.